Hi there. Welcome to the show for all of us. My name is Sarah Moran, and I'm a health, wellness, self care journalist, writer, educator. And today I would just like to share a super, super simple practice with you. Something that can really quickly take down the fight or flight or stress response and help kind of reset your nervous system. And this is so easy and it's really accessible. And it might be something you've heard of before, but bear with me because I really want to explain sort of the why and how behind it. And I think knowing some of that can help us remember to do things or reinforce that it is worth doing. And so the practice is simply an extended exhale breathing, meaning just that the exhale is longer than the inhale. So I'll give you an example. If we were breathing in to a count of 4, we breathe out to a count of 8, or it could be whatever amount works for you. So it would be like this: in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Um, Another version of this you may have heard of is 4-7-8 breathing, which is where you breathe in to a count of 4, you hold it for 7, and then you breathe out to a count of 8. But I just want to keep it super simple and tell you that the important piece is just that your exhale is longer than your inhale. I also just wanted to add the suggestion that on your in breath, you breathe through the nose only. And then on the out breath, if it feels comfortable to you, you can breathe through the mouth only. And just kind of keep that pattern in mind: through the nose on the in breath, through the mouth on the exhale. And again, before I go on, I know it could sound like, oh, that's nice, another cute little breath practice. But really, this stuff is powerful. And I'll, share with you a little bit more about why. Um, I think that we're just trained in a little bit to think that things have to be hard, or they have to be expensive or take a really long time, or we have to call on a whole bunch of other experts in order to find help with our health or our well-being. And of course, there's times for all that, but the message that I really want to convey, that I hope I got at in my very first episode about my goals for this podcast, is that a lot of times the really simple things do work, and they might not get the attention and the promotion, but it's about these little things, creating patterns with them in our lives over time, that can make a big difference. So anyway, a quick just little like body lesson about why the extended exhale works. So we have the vagus nerve, which runs from the brain all the way down to the colon, and it sort of hits all the major organs along the way. And the vagus nerve it's part of the nervous system, and it's the main part of the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system being your like cozy comforter. That's the calm down response. So the opposite of the sympathetic or fight or flight is the parasympathetic, which helps bring everything down, helps us rest, reset, recover, kind of calms down that whole stress response. So obviously, the vagus nerve plays a significant role in that. And it's sort of communicating information between the brain and the body, and the body and the brain. It's all these messages kind of going back and forth. And basically, if you activate the vagus nerve, you're also activating that parasympathetic nervous system, or that nice, comforting, calming, like cozy blanket kind of response. And what happens is that, so when we're stressed, we do not have an extended exhale. When we're stressed, we do these like rapid, short chest breathing. And when we are calm, then we are doing something more like that extended exhale. And so what happens is, if we just choose I'm going to do this practice with an extended exhale, what that's doing is it's sort of like telling um, your whole system that everything's okay. And because your brain then is going, oh, my body's calm, it's telling me everything's okay, and so then you kind of get those messages sent out, and you create that upward spiral, where the message is everything's okay, and so now a new set of those biochemical reactions that happen in the brain and the body are sent out. And so that's how it actually calms down. Um, and there is actually some research about this, about the extended exhale and the fact that it does calm the system down. But also, it's kind of similar to, I hope that you heard my last episode. I think that was episode 5 about tapping or EFT, where I talked about how with that there's a lot of research, but it actually goes back thousands of years, really has roots in traditional Chinese medicine. And in the case of the breathing practices, same kind of situation where this has roots in thousands of years old Ayurveda, out of India. You may be familiar with yoga, which is one, I guess, branch within the very comprehensive um, ancient wisdom and science that is Ayurveda. So one aspect of that in that whole umbrella is yoga, and pranayama is the breathing arm or the breathing aspect of that. And so, in some yoga classes, they will focus on pranayama and doing some really deep breath work. And I was thinking about this episode actually, and I had this memory of, I think, the first time I really got introduced to yoga and to breath work and like guided meditation in a significant way was in a high school gym class. And I was just thinking about that was the like my one memory from high school gym class, because some people love gym, that's great. I was not one of those people. I did really enjoy the speaker, and I was thinking about how, I have no idea who that was. He just came in one day for an hour and talked to us about yoga, and I still remember that for some reason. I actually tried to get out of gym in high school. Like, I actively talked to multiple adults about how I thought I should not be required to take gym, and I thought that my request was reasonable. Because I also was running cross country and track. And I thought, well, the point of gym is to like make sure we're all moving our bodies. I'm already doing that for hours a day. And so I would prefer to take a different class or like go home and take a nap or something. I don't think I need to go to gym class. And I remember the adults being like, well, Sarah, this is like a state requirement for graduation, and I don't think you have time to try to convince the people at the state that gym should no longer be required. And so, anyway, I ended up not trying to pursue that, and I was forced into taking gym. But anyway, I did have that one positive memory. And then I was thinking about back in elementary school. Of course, we had to take gym then. And I did enjoy parachute day in gym. I don't know if any of you guys remember had parachute day, but I thought that was the best. Like, when you would do you'd all stand in a circle and do the big parachute, and then you'd like tuck it under you and just sit. And it was always this very peaceful time, just sitting and observing the colors. And I really liked that part. And I really liked rope climb day. That was the one other thing that I liked. And I remember the rope was like all the way to the top of this very tall gymnasium. And I seriously remember feeling like at least I was going almost all the way to the top. And then there's like this tiny little blue mat that's maybe 1 inch thick at the bottom. And just thinking like they would never let us climb a rope like that today, that high. But this was the 80s. So anyway, I digress a little on my gym story. Back to my notes. Yes, so that lovely person who came to speak to us introduced really yoga and pranayama to me. And the point of all this, not my gym story, that doesn't have much of a point, but the point of the talking about the breath work is that, like, we really do get into habits with this. And that's really why it matters, because we get into breathing habits and they influence a lot. It influences, of course, your nervous system, but also your immune system, your circulatory system, your digestive system. There's so much more I could say about the breath and all the levels that it works. But that'll be maybe in a future episode. Um, and I think my point there too is just that little things do matter. We make these small investments and these small choices every day, and they really add up over time, and they create patterns in our ways of being and our ways of doing life. And it's just nice to choose the patterns that serve us as well as possible, that help us feel better within whatever our situations are. And as long as I've been learning about this stuff, I find that I still hold my breath. Like, I'll still find myself just holding my breath. And I mean, it's not like a minutes long holding my breath, but just I'll notice accidentally, like, oh, I'm not really breathing in a normal rhythm. I'm sort of holding it at I guess at the bottom of the breath probably. But for me, I notice, like, a good check-in time is in the car for some reason. Maybe it's transitions or whatever, but I tend to just take note of my breathing more in the car. And so, for you, you could see if there's a time that makes sense to just notice it. Bathroom breaks are always a good time to check in, and can kind of train yourself in to check into how you're feeling. And what I would suggest is, well, that comes back to noticing, like noticing how we're feeling in our bodies and in our minds. And I would just really encourage you, if you haven't already, you might want to listen to my episode number 2 and 3, which are both about self-awareness. Yeah, all of a sudden I'm trying to remember. Yeah, episode 2 and 3, because that's where we start, is with that awareness, and then you can kind of get to choosing new patterns that serve you better. And so, especially if you notice you're feeling stressed, you're starting to get a little bit amped up, or if you notice that you're not, if you notice you're not sleeping, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're not sleeping, or you can't fall asleep, this is a great practice to do. And I would suggest that you just have yourself do like 10 breaths as one option. So I really like the 4-7-8 breathing. So again, that's just in to 4, hold to 7, and out to 8. Of course, modify however works for you. The point is the exhale is longer than the inhale. Or you can do this for like 2 to 5 minutes. Just set a short amount of time to do it. And then I think, again, that knowing how it's working, that you're actually telling your vagus nerve and your parasympathetic nervous system, like, things are okay, can come and kind of calm things down a little bit. Um, and let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I'll probably talk about breath some more later. There's a lot there. There's people who specialize in breathing and teach really fun classes and workshops on it. It can be used in a really therapeutic setting and help people move through really difficult things. It can be a key piece of a person's, personal evolution or spiritual growth. There's so much there. And I just want to kind of close this breath piece with a nice little quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, which is this. So he says, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." So thank you so much for listening today. I think next time I might share just a little fun practice that, well, I just think it's fun. And then it's also, there's a lot of meaning behind it, if we look at it more. And there's a lot of ways to connect internally and with others through it. So I think I'm going to share that practice, and then maybe some future episodes a little more about like perspectives and how do we kind of shift into higher perspectives and things like that. But I'm kind of just taking it as it comes and seeing what feels right to talk about next. So um, thank you again for listening and taking time out of your day to learn some of this stuff. I hope that it was helpful for you. And the videos on YouTube, and then the audios on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, free on all those platforms if you have them. And I hope that if you like it, you can like and subscribe and follow, and please share the information if you think that it would be helpful to somebody you know. All right, thanks again and take care. Bye bye.